Mr. Watley, do you have a soul? What did you think I would do at this moment? The Black Critic Guy here with a late movie review, but a movie review nonetheless, of the film Ted 2. And I'm going to try my best to keep this review short, sweet, and to the point for my good friend Michael, aka Real School. So Real School, I hope you enjoy. Now Ted 2 obviously follows our favorite foul-mouthed talking toy bear Ted, who finally gets married to his longtime girlfriend, and then they start having marital issues and they decide, hey, what better way to rekindle our relationship than by having a baby? So they try to get a sperm donor, but then that doesn't work because his girlfriend's uterus is like completely shot, so they try to adopt, but then they realize, wait a minute, Ted's not really a human, he's more of a property, and then now he's fighting for his right to get a baby and to be declared like a living being, and all sorts of shenanigans ensue. Now, like most people, I got a kick out of the first Ted. It was really hilarious, a whole lot of fun. Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane had great comedic chemistry, and it looked like Seth MacFarlane, as a first-time comedic director, was really going places with his first directorial debut. But then he hit a bit of a snag when it came to A Million Ways to Die in the West. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't as funny or memorable as his first attempt, Ted. So now he's kind of going back to his roots and trying to get back on the horse with Ted 2. And in my honest opinion, I really enjoyed Ted 2. In fact, I probably enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed the first one. Now with films like Ted, to be honest, there's only one real thing I want from the film, and that's for the film to make me laugh consistently. I just want to enjoy the ride and laugh my ass off along the way. And Ted 2 definitely delivers in this area. There's just so many laugh out loud moments. And for fans of Family Guy, you'll definitely enjoy the comedy because it's becoming more Family Guy-esque. And I'll talk about that a little later, but for the comedy as a whole, I really enjoyed it. And one thing that this film did better than its predecessor was handling all of the running gags throughout the film. The running gags in the film are just really good, and they get funnier each and every time they use it. The comedic chemistry between Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane is still there, and probably even more dynamic in this film than it was in the first film. Their exchanges and deliveries were just spot on and hilarious. And with the addition of the new girl character in this film, Samuel Jackson, played by Amanda Seyfried, they actually added a new dimension to this group as they're able to play off of her with some good jokes throughout the film. One of my personal favorites that's also a running gag throughout the film is how they would poke fun at the fact that she's so pulp culturally inept. And with all those elements, that makes the comedic chemistry between Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane this film's for the win. You mad, Mike? And adding to the comedy, there were a couple of cameos in this film that were just fantastic, particularly the one in the first 20 minutes. That was without a doubt the best cameo in the entire film that had me laughing my ass off at how ridiculous it was. It was just perfect, and honestly, I wish we could have had more moments with this character in the film. It would have been fantastic. And the last thing I really liked about this film, which has been something I've always appreciated and respected from Seth MacFarlane, was his homages to classical movies and his use of classical music, particularly in the opening sequence, which really harkens back to the openings you would see in classic 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s movies. He has always had a soft spot for classical songs and movies, and it's surely implemented in this film. But that's not to say that this film is all sunshine and rainbows, as I did have a few issues with it. The first one being is that although I did enjoy the humor overall in the film, there were a couple of jokes that missed the mark or went on for way too long or just veered off from the story. Very Family Guy-esque cutaway jokes that don't really serve a real purpose of the story. It's just there as a setup for a joke, and that's it. And it would be fine if these cutaway jokes were actually funny, but most of them weren't really funny. They actually felt more forced. Like, there's this one where they're throwing fruit at runners, and I was like, That wasn't that funny. And speaking of the story, it's all over the place. There's just way too many subplots going on in this movie. Like, Ted and his wife are trying to have a baby, and then at one point, John and Ted are trying to find a sperm donor. Then at another point, he's fighting for his rights. And then at another point, there's like this kidnapping scheme. And then at another point, there's a road trip. Too many things are happening. The reason that the first Ted works so well is because it was just one main story and it had enough focus and attention given to it. Here, it's like there's so many plot points that you gotta focus on. It's just, oh, too much. And yes, I know I said the only thing I really want from this movie is to laugh, and that's what it did. But come on, your story doesn't need to be this convoluted and cluttered. Just have one main story. And speaking of unnecessary subplots and characters, Giovanni Ribisi's character from the first film comes back and convinces the head of Hasbro to kidnap Ted so that they can cut him open and see how he works, like in the first film. And I was thinking to myself, why do we even need this? Why is Giovanni Ribisi's character back? He wasn't funny in the first film, and he sure as hell wasn't funny in this film. He's just god-awfully creepy. And honestly, do we even need a villain in this story? I mean, we already have enough drama dealing with Ted trying to fight for his right to be declared a person rather than a thing. It just feels like adding a villain is just extra drama that wasn't really needed in the film. And finally, the romance between John and Samantha. Yeah, it just came off as extremely forced and I felt no real chemistry there. And that's all I have to say about it. But overall, even with all its faults, I still really enjoyed watching Ted. And if you're a fan of this style of comedy, you'll have fun with it too. And that's why I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's definitely an enjoyable film. But anyway, what did you guys think of this film? Did you really enjoy it? Did you laugh your ass off? Or did you find it really boring and unfunny and just a rehash of the first film? Comment below and let me know. And stay tuned, I have 3 videos coming your way tomorrow, including my monthly live chat. So until those videos come, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and not miss out on a single awesome video on this channel, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm telling you what in a second, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace YouTube, and school's out.